Greetings. Once again, totally unexpected video, but I was sent a link to a video. It's the Adrienne Elise Travel, and it's the Gaia update, the Greater Conjunction 2020. Now, as much as anything else, this is a wonderful test, because if you get triggered by anything the way it's explained, then go back to the drawing board, because see beyond everything. It doesn't matter if you're using the official narrative on dates on history and what they tell us happens. A perfect example of this, which you can see played out, is Dunkirk in 1940. It's always displayed as some victory when actually it's a defeat. But it follows the same pattern, because let's change the focus away from the military, and we're focused on these brave men going out in their fishing boats. And they're on the front line, they're the heroes. And the 2020 version of that is nurses on the front line, of course. Don't think I need to say any more on that, just apply what I call the law of mirrors to everything. See the mirror and also see the reflection. This is as above, so below, but again, humanity would appear to be caught in the crossfire. But it goes back to that feeling I always had as far back as I can remember, which is beyond what would be day one in this reality, in this physical form. And it's like, can't put your finger on it, but something just does not feel right. The gut feeling is telling me something is slightly off. I know I'm repeating what I've said on the last couple of videos, but it puts it all into context. Since, I'm trying to think, it's a question I've been asked many times: when did you first start going through awakening, awareness, whatever you want to call it? Well, it's pretty much all ongoing. There's markers to this. Obviously significant events, like the one 19 years ago. And it just builds and builds and builds the picture, and slowly and steadily it all unfolds, and it's all done at the pace that we can handle. Well, it's reached this wonderful point where all the way through, I suppose it started with that blood moon in 2016, where things really started to hot up, and there's so much speculation: end of age, end of days, fire, apocalypse, destruction, end of the world, and all this. The coming of the new world order. Well, yeah, there is a new world order. It's a new order inside yourself. It is this this second coming, as it were, because your Christ consciousness is here. You're taking it back up. That's why it's the second coming. You can call it ascension. You can call it Kundalini rising. You can call it birth from above. Doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. It's all different ways of saying the same thing in much the same way. Truth seeking and spirituality, whether it be tarot card readings, astrology, coming from a truth-seeking angle, it's all pretty much different ways of saying the same thing. And I think a very good analogy here is take a scientific book or a musicology book. Yeah, it's written in English. Legalese appears to be in English, but as I think most of you know, that common English, and then when you get into this speciality English, which is very specific to a specific topic or a specific science, the average person then can't read and understand. And same applies with religious texts, scriptures and things. If you don't know how to read them, if you've never been shown how to read them, and so you come at them at a perspective that will make sense, then that's why they don't make sense. It's not the fault of what's presented, it's the interpretation. And I can't recommend enough Dr. Joe Dispenza. As he says, a lot of people, the religion, if you talk of it in that way, in the way Neville Goddard does, then it puts a lot of people off. Part of that, I would say, is you've got to get over those triggers. I mean, I was triggered by certain names and words and things. It's meaningless. It's irrelevant. It's the devil's in the detail, always, with these things. So what's clear in this message from Adrienne Elise? The recurrent theme is you've got an eclipse and then a 3-year period. Well, this year, this eclipse that's coming up, we don't expect an overnight change. It's a marker that repeats and repeats. You've got 20-year markers. You've got an opposition at the 10-year period to that. And then you've got these 3-year markers that keep coming up, and all makes perfect sense. I'm going to just digress and talk from a truth-seeking angle. So the date that comes up with the conjunction is 1802. Well, the opposition 1812. Well, just look what's going on. You've got the Mexico earthquake. You've got the war in North America between what became Canada and the United States. You've got the whole Napoleon story, that theatre. That's the European theatre. But it does all tie in. What the previous one is 1623. Well, I know from when I looked at parish registers, that's sort of the cut-off point with the sort of Cromwell years, where the parish registers all suddenly come to an abrupt halt and you don't get any more information until 1660. So potentially you've lost 3 generations of baptisms and marriages and burials within that period. So again, that all ties in, regardless of how you interpret it and how you want to see it as, but it's the same story over and over again that is being shown. And I'm going to say again that feeling I had right from early on that something's not right, well, the feeling that I've had since that I think it's that blood moon of 2016, is one of everything's going to be fine. Now, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, when you are in the fight or flight, your attention is one of survival, which is hardly conducive to meditation. And to reiterate again, meditation is, I forget the words Dr. Joe Dispenza uses, basically you're reinventing yourself, you're reprogramming yourself. We're at a time where you have just got to muster all that inner strength and be greater than yourself, no matter what out there shows you. Because, again, the law of mirrors, David and Goliath. You're going to feel like David because you are David. Because David is the Son. David is Jesus, as Neville Goddard interprets the Bible and explains it. David divide because when the Grim Reaper comes along, the judgment, you're pulled apart. I mean, the third eye is basically like the veil, the curtain, you pull apart. And it's looking inside to see what light has grown. It's, I suppose if you want to put a childhood analogy to this, it's like, remember when you used to go out looking for conkers and you go through all that pain of prizing apart that horrible spiky outer thing, quite painful, and then you've hopefully got a conker in there. The ones that were still white or whatever, or no good, you just throw down on the ground and they would find their way into the earth and they'd hopefully become a tree. But that's playing the part of the Grim Reaper as a child, you could say. You're looking for the good seeds that have germinated, and you're throwing the rest back. And this is what's going on right now. All this technology, these mobile phones, it's so often speculated as what you get in the public is so far behind what's going on with these military secret things. Well, yeah. Amazing though it might seem, and crazy it might seem to some, as far as I can see and feel, and what I'm experiencing is it's in the air. Like they say, the nanoparticles are in the air. Now, the best way I can explain this, it's something that's just outside of the visible human eyesight spectrum, but I can feel it and almost see it. It's almost like a web, like a spider web strands. And when you're talking to what we would call the asleep, it's like some switch gets turned on and responds with media scripts, gives system answers. And just observe the change. It can be those all around you, because that as above, so below thing. Well, you've got the stars in the sky. Depending on their positions and everything, and in relation to each other, they can be read and interpreted as to this is happening, these people will feel, under this sign will feel this, and so on and so on. Now, you've had a fixed version. Those star thoughts is basically, I see it as, it's like fixing the stars, in setting them in stone into a fixed position. Well, what about, instead of star thoughts? Well, that's those that are at various stages of this awakening, this great awakening, this change of age. Because even that, it's, as this Adrienne Elise talks about, in the Greek mythology, it's Zeus is hidden by Mother Gaia. So you can see it's come from air element into earth element. So it's taking it back to air element, because we're moving out of a water sign, we're moving into the air, which is spiritual, and it's all about individual sovereignty with this age. It is, and I can say from experience, it is when you have that feeling of bliss, there's no need to move anywhere. There's no need to do anything, because you can just stay in that feeling, and that will grow that energy, and it will radiate out. You'll draw the right people. I'm basically doing a very condensed version of, and putting it in a slightly different words from this video I've just watched, but I'm going to put the link in the description for this, because it's just confirmation for, as I feel it confirms what Levette says, it confirms what Matt Quantum of Conscience says. He's coming from a truth-seeking angle, Levette's coming from astrology angle. Right across the board, the overlaying message, that is the right way around, I'd say. Another way of expressing this, I think it came to me, yes, when you reflect upon, well, if you're you're seeing it from a higher perspective. If you want to see it in the physical play-out sense, instead of being on the squares, on the snakes and ladders game, you're now looking above and seeing it's just a board game. See, if I'm looking externally and thinking, where the hell am I going to go? There's power outages, and there's going to be added realism. There's always added realism. But And I'm not going to put my energy to that, because that's fight or flight. And then while you're putting the energy into that, I'm depriving myself of the energy I can put into the meditation and reinventing myself, because, again, I'm going to say Dr. Joe Dispenza is a perfect and proof through performance of all of this is when you start your day with your worries from yesterday and worries of the past, and you're bringing the now from the past. It's not even law of attraction, because that's still wanting. This is the law of assumption. This is being in gratitude, holding that feeling that you've already got it, because that changes the chemicals inside you. That changes how you feel. You don't have to physically travel anywhere. There's pretty much right across the board, from what I can see, those that live in the United States want to come to Europe or go to Mexico or go somewhere else. And this pattern is, whatever country you're in, you'll find the people there saying, this is not a good country, what's going on, I want to move there, but we can't. Well, where can we go, really? There's little point. We seem to be in these positions for a reason. It would make perfect sense that we're connected to everything, so we're placed where we are for a reason that is beyond our sort of conscious human understanding of it. We do know deep inside, obviously, the creator's is your pineal gland. All it needs is that power and wisdom to connect. You're connecting with yourself in all of this. The two towers, the two into one, well, law of mirrors. Well, there's your two into one. Bringing your two eyes into your one eye. You can interpret these things either way round. See, I just go with the basis that if the AI can do all this and can flick people and flick a switch and turn them into a system responding puppet, and they're not even aware of it, because forgive them for they know not what they do, well, I can play that game as well. It's like, yeah, I see you. I'm aware of you. You're not going to trigger me. You have absolutely no power of me. It's like going and seeing a magic show. The magician's tricks, they're all illusions. They lose their magic when you see through them. If you just sit back and be the observer and don't take part in any of this. But you've got to walk two worlds. You've got to be in this world, but not of this world at the same time. So there's the balance in that anyway. But it'll all just work out beautifully. It's all following a plan, and there's absolutely nothing to worry about. So what are we up to here? 18 minutes. So final notes with the 21st, I'll probably see that in, and then I'm going to do a 3-day meditation and a 3-day water fast. So there'll be no devices used. I'm going to stay in meditation, and the body will be screaming out to want to go and check Facebook messages and things, and it's like, nah, you just sit there. This is under new management. This is the new world order within myself, because it is all about reinventing yourself, breaking the cycles, getting rid of the system programming that has been put into us. This is all about the age of, you're crowning yourself. You're finding that seventh chakra and opening it up. The sum of the number of petals of the open chakras is 144. This is what Sancho Spinacci has explained. When all 7 are active, it radiates out. You re-sun. That is the reason you re-sun. Because you've reinvented yourself, and it's invent. You notice. So it's 144 multiplied by 1,000. That's what the 144,000 means. And obviously 1, 4 and 4 makes 9. 9 is completion. You've flipped yourself over because you've reinvented yourself and how the system's made you. You've taken control, so you've become from a 6 where the head is downwards. You've now flipped yourself over. So you have crowned yourself. You are now master of your own garment, your own vessel, instead of the servant running the show with, I want to do this, or no, I don't fancy going out there, what will other people think? Stay indoors, stay in the warm, stay in your comfort zone. This is what the body is screaming out all the time at us and keeping us in the habits. This is what the meditation is all about. It's just the same as the system has done with the repetition, whether it be prayers, whether it be education. It's repeat, repeat, repeat. The television is repeat, repeat, repeat. Well, law of mirrors, repeat, repeat, repeat. Reinventing yourself and making the best version of yourself. Use what is available to you. Well, what have you got available to you? You've got a vessel, and you have the creator. You are a co-creator. You have your own human, wonderful imagination. You place the limits on that. Nobody else does. You can be controlled by the feelings of the chemical changes that the system has put into you, or you can take control of those and you can be the alchemist. You can rebalance yourself. You can reinvent, you rewire yourself. You become the being, the presence that you want to be. Because remember, you are a presence. You're in the present. And it's how you present yourself as well. This is a wonderful time. I am so grateful for this. I'm still got that energy. I feel ecstatic, and it's like, I've got to share this information. So don't feel any fear about what appears to be happening, what seems to be happening, whether you're looking at it from an astrological point of view and speculating on what is going to happen. You feel it inside because it's all happening inside. So just hold tight, stay in your power, and everything is going to be all right. Don't trust me, just experience it and you'll see for yourself. Ta-ta for now.